energy, and energy is infinitely existent. Beyond this realm of existence, energy can never die, only transmute into something entirely new. And if you are an embodiment of this immense potentiality, then you too can never truly die. The end of life, death as we say, can be a scary concept for many to comprehend. But the end of this chapter is only the prequel to the next story that is being written by your soul. You currently exist in a three-dimensional place, but within your imagination resides a metaphysical higher dimensional space, and it is this area where you operate as a higher singularity. Perhaps when we die, it is your ego which completes its mission, and that ego which has been formulated through life experience is simply not you. You are the observer of humanity, and humanity is just one piece of the great life puzzle that is definably and
I'm super tired, but back with another wide awake video. To be honest, I get my research from a lot of different sources, and then I try to pick a topic and weave in a sense, my sources, things that inspired me to make the video. This week I got an abundance of information from Bishop T.D. Jakes and Carl Jung was another one. Daily Jesus Devotional channel on YouTube is another one. And I read up on 8 habits that is damaging your brain, and that is what I wanted to use as my informational piece, like my stop doing these things, so to speak. Things that I feel like, again, should be free to the general public. So I'm going to start there with 8 habits that are damaging your brain. Number 1, staying in the dark too much. Of course, you know that the weather's changing, or at least it's changing where I am, and we're seeing a lot more of the sun. And even though it can be a little deceiving, and you think that it's shorts weather, it is not just yet. But getting out and getting some sunshine, some vitamin D, never hurt. And it can boost your mood. If you are feeling sad or blue, so to speak, if you ever thought to just go out into nature, 9 times out of 10 within 20 minutes, you're going to feel revitalized just by the sun. You know what I mean? So, although it's not summer weather yet, get some sun. Consuming too much negative news. I talked about diet not only being what we eat and watching what goes into our body and eating salad and stuff like that. That's cool and all, but also pay attention to what is grabbing your attention. How often are you watching these violent graphic videos that sometimes can flood our timeline, our news feed? Pay attention to that.
Hello.
Hello. Pay attention to that.
Hello.
Coming in at number 3 is blasting your headphones at full volume. This is definitely something that I had to pay attention to, like at work. I like to listen to my music, and it could be a distraction too if someone's trying to get your attention, or just pay attention to how often and how loud your headphones is. You never know when there might be something that somebody's trying to grab your attention to say, and you want to be able to hear. Sometimes we can get caught up in our own world so much that we tend to block off other things and other points of views, or and we might still need to have at least be aware. You know what I mean? Number 4, social isolation. Being alone is great, but division is one of those things I talked about, where there could be a connection that you've been waiting on to push your ideas to the next level, or to a source of inspiration, or a networking connection that could take your business to the next level. Social isolation can damage your brain. It literally is something that you might want to pay attention to, because although technology is great in having social media and people that we communicate to virtually, it'll never replace the one-on-one communication, in-person interaction. Don't downplay this, don't underestimate that. It goes back to the beginning of time, and it's always been a way of us communicating, and it, honestly, being on your phone too much, or being so dependent on the validation that you might get from social media, can be dangerous. You know what I mean? It's like, I was listening to a conversation where this old guy, he was in a pizza store, and he was like, whatever happened to the days where you could speak to somebody else and get a smile? Everybody's crazy. Like, everybody's just looking at you like, why are you looking at me so crazy? Like, what's wrong with everybody, right? Number 5, too much screen time. I bought these glasses. They're supposed to emit the blue light emission that you see from your screen. I invested in a couple pair, for one for me and one for my daughter, so that if I felt like we were on our phones or on our devices too much, that it could be a barrier of protection. Just one more precaution to take. I mean, too much of anything isn't good, right? But pay attention to how much screen time you're getting, and if you can, try to reduce it, right? Plenty of other things that you could be doing, and especially with the weather getting nice again, right? Take your kids, it don't have to be much, go to Dollar Tree and get some chalk. Me and London bought pickleballs, and it's the game. It's kind of like Batman almost, but it's called pickle. It's real inexpensive. Consuming too much sugar. Obviously, if you are on a health kick, then you realize how much sugar can be bad for you if you are consuming it in large amounts. It will contribute to weight gain and being dehydrated, barely moving throughout the day. Make sure you're trying to be a little bit more active. And coming in at 8 is poor sleeping habits. My channel is called Wide Awake, so I always try to pay attention to things that relate to an awakening of some sort. Like I always try to pay attention to those sorts of things, so that I can connect it back to being wide awake and coming into an awakening period, which is to me, in a sense, just when you're ignorant to something you don't know, but when you come into information that changes your perspective on something that you didn't know, how amazing that is. Lately, I've been, definitely getting closer to God, and definitely trying to use my channel as a source to preach the gospel, in a sense. I'm not a preacher. I don't want to be a preacher, but I definitely do want to spread wisdom. And to me, wisdom, well, not just to me, but it's a fact, wisdom is worth more than silver and gold. And so, using technology to make getting to know God an inclusive experience, where I encourage people who do want to listen to my message or do want to learn the things that I take the time out of my week to set aside and learn and share, and solely for with the best intentions. I do think that is important. Like, you could do something in the back of your mind and just really be trying to get attention, and then you could be doing something from the heart that you really genuinely want people to know, and think that them coming into that awareness is beneficial to making the world that we live in a better place. I think that if more people thought about that, then we would be on the right track. Again, offering prayer, and it's always good to get some type of support and information. I'll read this part of scripture that stood out to me, and it was from Joshua 5:1 all the way through 5:15, something like that. But if you want to go back or look up the scripture, it just stood out to me. You can do what you like, but this particular word is what I use to get through the week. Now when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied, "but as commander of the army of the Lord have now come." Then Joshua fell face down and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" And what that meant to me, what that little passage meant to me, was that they're tying it back into what my topics was, which was 8 habits that can damage the brain. I saw that passage, that scripture, as sort of a remedy to say, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a person that could be your enemy. Sometimes we are our own enemies, and sometimes the things that we get so caught up in doing that we think is the norm, or that we think is our routine, if we paid attention a little bit more to what we're doing and how they affect us and how they affect others around us, that could be an enemy. And when it got to the point where he said, "Neither, but as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come," to me it was like, damn, I have the opportunity to be at the service of the Lord, as a soldier, as somebody who wants to get his word across, and my message is for him. My message is to please him, and as long as I feel like I'm doing that, then I'm fulfilling my purpose, and I'm walking in my purpose. So do what you will. Do what you will with that. Again, you can always hit me up, hit me with a DM, and let me know what you thought about my research and what you thought about my advice. Again, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not, just somebody who really have. I think I've come into that part of my life where I'm in deliverance. That's it. You know what I mean? So, and when you trying to get here, at the end of the day, whether you like what I'm saying or not, just respect it. That's all. Until next time.